Obi Obadike. What a pleasure speaking to Obi. He is a health and wellness professional. He does personal training. He writes great essays. He works with some high-end celebrities and some not celebrities. We kind of talk about the difference there, but we really start the conversation with nutrition. As many of you may or may not know, that I did lose a lot of weight, and people always ask me how, and I say discipline, of course. But we start with 40-40-20, which is his kind of basic foundation for nutrition. And it's very interesting where he takes it. He's a former athlete, high school and college. His parents are Nigerian. He's in the Southern California area, but he wrote a book, The Cut, and it talks about weight loss methods and what's proper there. Again, with nutrition, what he recommends with supplements. We talk about creatine a little bit. I don't know where you are with that. But it's very interesting discussion. And exercise. There's so many ways to exercise with your own body weight. You don't have to spend a lot of money at a gym if you don't have the resources. But this is a great conversation on health and wellness. And here in the United States, obesity is very high. Above 50%. Overweight is way up there as well. And what can be done in this area is always of great interest to me, and I hope to others. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business that lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission, how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family and their passion and their careers and how it helped them. Our podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Disciple Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration.
Oh my goodness, Obi Obadike.
Obadike.
Obadike, yes.
Don't
So
worry.
nice to meet you. I really,
Nice to
really,
meet you too, Joey.
it's a great pleasure, and I'm very, very excited to talk to you. So in nutrition, what's 40-40-20?
40-40-20 is 40%, you're consuming 40% protein, 40% carbs, and 20% fats. So that's your macronutrient ratio. And that is a really good starting template for people when they're on a diet. That's kind of the starting template for a balanced diet as far as your nutrients is concerned. I think the problem with a lot of these fad diets is everything's kind of so extreme where they'll just say, well, carbs is your enemy. So you're getting 2% of carbs, and, maybe 20% of protein and then 80% of fat, which is, you get that much fat. That's unhealthy for your arteries, So I'm a real big advocate of balance in your nutrients because your energy is going to be balanced. And then also, when you have it balanced that way, I also think that it's advantageous for your blood work as well too.
And why such a fear with people with fat? I mean, why does fat have such a bad reputation?
Well, I think for whatever reason, back in the day, people thought that if you consume fat, fat is going to gain fat on your body. For whatever reason, back in the day, I don't know if it's just horrible education that fat is fat. Where healthy fat is good for you. Healthy fat is important for your body. Healthy fat is important for your blood work. So I think there's a lot of health nutrition myths out there, and that's one of them. That fat is bad for you, where actually fat is good for you.
And there's plenty of people that I talk to that are on keto, that are all on these, uh, diets, these ways of eating. I don't the term diet, it seems so temporary, but I've heard you say that if it works for you, it works for you.
I'm a really big believer in that. I used to, I never want to ever negate what someone's doing, especially if it's working for you. And what
Mm,
may work for you may not work for me. I'm,
mm,
maybe that you got one person that is okay being on a keto diet and maybe consuming, 15% of their calories comes from carbs, but it works for them. It works for their lifestyle. So I think that what we need to do as a society, is particularly nutritionists, is just to study that. Okay, maybe keto is not the conventional way of eating, but it works for this person, um,
mm.
and they're able to go about their day and optimize their lifestyle. And so, if it works for them, why change it? If every let's say every year they get their blood work and they're healthy, they're energetic, they can accomplish what they can accomplish, then go ahead and do it. Pick something that works for you. You know what I mean? And so for me, I don't go that route conventionally. I start from the 40-40-20, and then I make adjustments from there. Just because you start there doesn't mean you're going to end there. Sometimes you got to make adjustments as the person is progressing on the program, and how their body is reacting to the program. So I'm a really big believer on pick what works for you. But I also think it's important to be aware of being on extreme diets and how extreme diets can affect your energy levels. It can fluctuate it. And if you're someone that works 16, 17-hour days, consuming a diet that is extremely low in carbs may not be the smart way, particularly
Mm.
if you need those, especially particularly if those energy levels are vital for you to be able to help you sustain a 16-hour, 17-hour day.
I heard you also say how, you know, just because they've got a six pack doesn't mean that they're healthy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that people assume just because you've got washboard ab that you're healthy. But you don't know if you're really healthy until you get your blood work. You get all of your blood panels and your lipid panels. And I have seen people that have shredded, ripped up, and their kidney levels are not at normal levels. Their kidney levels, their liver levels are not at normal functional levels.
Mm.
Um, the cholesterol levels are high. Their bilirubin levels are not normal, and so a lot of guys, when they get shredded and ripped, what they do is they dehydrate their body. Okay, they try to rid all of the water from their body, but that's really really hard on the heart, and it's hard on the kidneys, and it's hard on the liver. So when someone is super dry and super shredded and they're on a fitness competition stage, I can guarantee you, if you take their blood work at that moment, their blood work is off, man. Their blood work they may look like perfection visually, but
Mm.
internally, they are not. So it's almost like that mirror where the visual mirror on the outside says, "Oh my God, he looks amazing, he's perfect," but inside is completely the opposite. They're literally a heart attack waiting to happen,
Mm.
or your doctor's like, "Oh my God, you got to be careful here." You look at your blood work, your levels are off, and so that's why. Um, those type of competitions are not healthy at all. You cannot put the
Right.
word health next to bodybuilding. You cannot. Okay. And I will tell anybody in their face, you cannot put the word health to bodybuilding. With the diuretics and the steroids, their blood work is, most of these people end up doing irreparable damage, to their heart, their kidneys, their liver and stuff like that. So that's what I mean. I'm not saying that, that if someone is in great shape aesthetically, that doesn't mean that their blood work, mirrors that. Doesn't mean it it doesn't mean it's not going to look good, but that it doesn't guarantee it either. So that's really a true health is the blood work. And a lot of people don't do that enough. And that's why it's so important, because sometimes you can have something growing inside of you and you don't even realize it because you don't
Mm.
get your blood work done every year. And then by the time, something happens to you 5, 6, 7 years later, maybe you've got a liver issue or whatever, a kidney issue. It's too late because you weren't doing your annual checkups. That's why it's so important to get your annual blood work done minimally.
Yeah, the term skinny fat, right? Just because they're skinny doesn't mean that they're healthy.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. There's a lot of people that are skinny fat, that are just they have that the skinny genetics.
Right.
They eat like garbage. They don't do any type of activity, and they're not healthy.
Mm.
Visually, they look okay. This person looks slim and thin. Maybe they might look fit because they look decent in clothes, but they eat so much garbage. It's like, someone can probably get away with eating garbage more than when I say garbage, meaning junk food, processed
Right.
foods, more than the next person, if they're able to exercise. So the exercise would be the buffer. The exercise allows you to burn all that extra sugar and extra fats. But if you don't have that as the buffer to burn it before it really affects your insides, then you know you're screwed. I don't care how genetically blessed you are. So it's just trying to find that happy balance. I mean, I always tell people that, yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of beautiful food that you can eat that's junk food that tastes really well, and we all have that. Like, we all sometimes want to gravitate to that, periodically, or. But I think it's just trying to find that balance to do it within moderation. I don't believe in anything extreme,
Right.
in terms of dieting or exercise. It's kind of like extreme moderation. Having the moderation to not overdo it with exercise and not be 100% super strict on your diet, where maybe you're not enjoying the foods that you'd love to enjoy indulging wise, because I do think that that also is helpful too. It's just trying to develop an efficient, smooth lifestyle where it doesn't become an unbearable experience.
But there's so many. It's so difficult because bad food is so accessible. I mean, fast food is so inexpensive. It's everywhere. The aisles in the grocery stores, I mean, they're just littered with these seed oils. Everything's fried in these seed oils, and it's so inexpensive and it's so accessible. It's difficult to be healthy.
You're right. It's the system is designed for you to fail. It's
Mm,
designed in a way where it's more expensive to buy healthy stuff and
yes.
it's cheaper to buy garbage and junk food. That's just how it's designed. So the people that get affected are the people that live in low income neighborhoods, people that don't really
Right.
make that much money. Okay. They're the ones that become the victim of gravitating to the foods that are cheap but are not really good for you. And that's where social economics will dictate your health
Mm,
based off of being able to gravitate to foods that are healthy. Thankfully, what I can say is that now I truly believe there was a time where people would say, you know what, I can't afford the gym membership, I don't have the money. Okay. But now with these apps, that's not really an excuse anymore. You've got a lot of these apps where you can download an app for like $2 a month or $3 a month, or even go on YouTube. To be honest with you, if you have
yeah.
internet, minimally, where you can really obtain a lot of exercise content that you can train with and exercise with or whatever. You don't really have to have a gym. You can work out at home. You can do jumping jacks. You can do jump rope at home. You can. There's so many
Push ups,
yeah, but there's so many things you can do at home. Literally, you can.
body
I,
weight.
I
Yeah.
can. I can create a workout out of anything. All you need is your body. Your body is your
Mm,
own workout machine. So,
mm, mm.
so in regards to that, I don't think that people can use the excuse that I don't have a gym membership. You can exercise literally anywhere. Just walking. I mean, just walking.
Yeah,
Walking.
huge.
Walking is one of the best low impact cardiovascular movements you can do. and you can do that until you're 90. And I
Yes.
always get
Definitely.
impressed when I see someone in their 80s, 70s, even 90 still getting their walk on. That is
Mm.
phenomenal. I love seeing that,
Yeah, I mean, I end up playing a lot of golf, and I insist I walk, and it's a 5 to 6 mile walk, and at the close 16th hole, I start to feel a little bit. At least you're getting it's such a sport where people are in carts, and it doesn't really. At least you're outside. But getting back to nutrition, I mean, you really, I mean, they do these things. There's calories up on the menus now. Okay, so we know how many calories it is, but who's reading it? And um, you mentioned before, it's expensive to be skinny. You have to going on the outside of in the grocery store, right? Trying to get, not going on the inside of the aisles, trying to stay healthy out there. Just things you can do, but it's so difficult. A big thing that saved me, Obi, was the sodas, right? Just there's
Okay.
so many wasted calories in drinks.
Right.
Just
Yes.
cutting that out and moving to water is
I
just a
I,
huge.
I have helped people drop weight just by that alone. Just by
Right.
stopping to drink soda and just replacing that with water, they dropped weight. Why?
Yes.
Because that's a lot of empty calories. A
Yep.
lot. Even cutting out, I had a client that she had to drink like 2 to 3 glasses of wine every night. And I
Mm.
remember her cutting that out, cutting that down, cutting that. I think she cut it out to she cut it out completely. And she dropped weight just by that because it's a lot of empty calories. So yeah, there's a lot of empty calories that we do that's not necessary, you know. So yes, I'm not surprised that you were able to do that.
Yeah. So the three pillars I always look to when it comes to being healthy, of course, is nutrition, which you eat, exercise, and then sleep, which is
Sleep.
often
Sleep is
huge, right?
definitely important. Research studies have shown that people who get less than 7 hours of sleep tend to tend to gain weight because they end up putting things in their mouth. They
Oh.
end up snacking, and also it when you're getting a lack of sleep, when you're not getting 7 hours or more of sleep, they say that it starts to affect your
Mm.
hunger hormone, and it allows you to want to eat more food when you stay up. So, when you stay up late. So, yes, getting good sleep definitely, at least the studies have linked it to being able to have a healthy BMI, being able to be
Mm.
healthy and be able to manage a healthy weight.
Yeah, I do some of my best eating when I'm not hungry. It's not good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Look, man, let me tell you something. It's very difficult to stay up late at night and not want to put something in your
right.
mouth.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
even myself, I find that very difficult. You just want to chew on something. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now you're a former athlete. You said you played in high school. You played in college. You mentioned BMI. Is BMI is it realistic for athletes?
No, 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 no. That's one thing. That's a great, great
Mm.
question. BMI is not, unfortunately, it doesn't correlate to someone that's an athletic body or someone that has a lot of muscle. So if
Right.
you have a lot of muscle for your height, say you're 6'2" and you weigh 215 pounds, the BMI would have you as being overweight.
Yeah.
Right.
Obese. Yeah.
Obese, right? So it unfortunately, if you're an um, there's no conversion for an
Mm.
athlete, like a conversion number or someone who has a tremendous amount of muscle for the BMI. Unfortunately, it really is for the average person. So yeah, so if you are athletic, and you're in great shape and you're a weightlifter and you've been a weightlifter for years, yes, do not look at the BMI.
Yeah.
Make you think you got
I,
something wrong with it. Oh my God, what the hell's
yeah.
going on here? What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, no, 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 relax, relax, relax. That ain't for you. That ain't for you.
Yeah.
what I
I
say.
played soccer all my life, so I have these big legs. And then when I go get checked,
Yeah,
the doctor does the BMI. It's like, okay, you're obese. I said, what do you mean?
yeah. No, I
Uh,
soccer was my first sport as a kid,
ah,
and then once I got to 14, I stopped playing it and gravitated to basketball. But I loved soccer as a kid growing up. My God, just what a fun sport.
great sport for you.
Uh,
Keeps you moving.
oh my God,
You
you're always moving, man. Imagine.
yeah.
I remember when I played halfback as a kid, running
Uh,
back and forth, back. You're trying to help out the defense and the offense, and they're like, oh my God, talk about a track meet.
mm. Obi, let's talk about supplements. Where do you stand on supplements?
Well, it's funny, but when you ask that, so I am a big believer on food is medicine. So food is your best friend when it comes to, when it comes to your nutrients. And I feel like supplements are a secondary source.
Mm,
So supplements are meant to assist and supplement what you're not able to do. So I always say that you should be able to get all your nutrients from food, and
mm,
what you're not able to get from food, then the supplements are meant to assist with what you're not already doing with the food. So yes, I'm a big believer on supplements, but I think that most of your nutrients should come from food. And because the reality is, I own a supplement company, and I tell people this, and this is what someone that owns a supplement company would never say. That I always say that if you eat in a balanced way, and you get all of your nutrients from food, you don't really need supplements. That's just the
mm.
truth. But supplement companies are not going to tell you that. They're going to say, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. But if you're getting enough protein from your food, and protein and carbs, and then if you eat enough food, and your nutrients are balanced, then you really don't need a supplement. So supplements are meant to just supplement what you're not doing with what you're not obtaining, from food. So yes.
But then there's the case like quercetin, for example, right? Great healing, but it's not. It's only found. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the QUR. I forgot how to spell quercetin, but it's found in some foods. But the studies are showing that how good it is for you. But you'd have to eat um, a lot of this particular food to get it, and it's not natural. So why? So in this
Are you
case,
talking about creatine?
no, creatine I like to talk to as well.
Okay.
Quercetin is with a Q. Is healing properties. It's in
Mm,
lentils, I believe, and
okay. Yeah.
but there's something like that. But let's talk about creatine. I mean, how do you know how much to take? Because that's a not natural supplement,
Sure.
correct?
Well, creatine actually comes from meats. All right. So if you're eating
Ah,
enough meats, then that's what you'll be getting your creatine from.
I didn't realize
But
that.
unfortunately, to be able to get the minimum amount of creatine that is needed, or to be able to get a decent amount of creatine, you'd have to eat a lot of red meat.
Ah,
Okay, so
okay.
that was why creatine was so popular. Is that to eat a lot of that red meat is really gonna, your arteries are gonna be, you're gonna be heightening your
Mm,
arteries as far as
mm,
what could happen. So because the creatine comes from meats, that's where your creatine would come from in your body, as far as where you'd be obtaining that. So as far as creatine is concerned, as far as a dietary supplement, I know that a lot of these creatine will have you, do the whole loading phase, where you're, the first week to make sure that there's enough creatine in your body, and then you do the maintenance phase. I'm not a I think creatine I think it's one of the best muscle building supplement out there from a dietary perspective, but I also got to be real careful too with creatine, is you don't take too much of it, because it could give you that bloated effect, because what it does, it fills water in your muscles. That's what it does, in your tissue, muscle tissue. So if you're consuming a high amount of creatine, it would give it's gonna you're gonna look bloated. You're gonna look like, like this Michelin. You're gonna It's
ah,
gonna give you this illusion that, oh my God, look at how much muscle I've gained. But it's just you're just so, everything, all water is just like basically filling water in a balloon. So what I always say is that taking one scoop, if you are going to take creatine, one scoop a day, I think should be enough.
Hmm.
And then along with eating enough, enough meat, protein, turkey, fish, or whatever. But yeah, creatine is found in meat.
Hmm. I didn't realize it. Oh, so
Yeah.
I mean, very interesting. Now you wrote The Cut. It's a book about, you discuss weight loss methods. I mean, the weight the weight industry is, billions of dollar industry. But you say that you have some people that lose a lot of weight quickly, but really the best way is 1 or 2 pounds a week.
Correct. Right. So, the CDC recommends that a healthy weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week. And typically, if somebody is on the first time you put someone on a diet, any structured diet or structured weight loss program, they're always going to lose the most amount of weight the first 7 to 10 days. And it could be up to 7, 8, 9 pounds. I've seen that before. And most of that weight is water loss. Right. Excuse me. And then after that, your weight typically stabilizes 1 to 2 pounds per week. So that's a healthy weight loss. The things that you see on The Biggest Loser, where someone's losing like 50 pounds in, a month and a half, that's just not realistic. And number one, it's not healthy either. When you're doing extreme draconian measures of trying to lose weight, where they're starving themselves, or they're doing 4 hours or 5 hours of cardio a day. It is so unhealthy for the body. And all the studies have shown that they gain the weight back and then some.
Mm.
So that's why, like this, I know what's popular right now is Ozempic.
Yeah.
Ozempic is really popular. It's a type 2 diabetes drug. And what I would just tell people, just to be mindful of this thing, because the studies have shown that 2/3 of the people that get off of it gain their weight back. Two
Yeah.
thirds. So, you're almost, your body becomes used to taking this thing to lose weight. And so I always just say, if you do have to do it because you have type 2 diabetes and you're overweight, hopefully it can be a a tool to help you develop better lifestyle habits. So when you do get off of it, you've now developed good positive lifestyle habits like exercising and eating right. And those habits will help to maintain the weight that you've lost off the drug.
Mhm. Now, in that particular case, that drug is just an appetite suppressant,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
And I heard you
It
say it was six.
suppresses it suppresses your appetite for sure. I mean, and I know people that have taken it, and it's no joke. You know what I mean? It's definitely no joke. I mean, I I sell appetite suppressants with my supplement company, and but we also give out a free 30-day diet and exercise program ebook with our appetite suppressant, because we don't want to just say pop a pill and all of a sudden you're going to lose weight. We want to give
Mm,
people the
mm,
tools and the information to exercise and eat. We're always stressing exercise. You got to exercise regardless of whatever product we are trying to sell, because that's always should be your primary source before taking any supplement whatsoever. And I always teach that.
I also heard you say 6 to 8 glasses of water a day will help suppress your appetite as
Oh
well.
yeah, water is one of the best appetite suppressants you can ever take. It signals your brain that your stomach is full. Studies have shown that if you drink a glass to 2 glasses of water before you eat your meal, it will make you eat less food. It will. So yes, water is almost like, when you're drinking water throughout the day, it's almost you're putting something in your stomach that signals your brain that you're full, almost like you've eaten food, even though you haven't. So yes, water. I always try to share with people. Water is one of the best appetite suppressants you can consume, and it's no calories as well too, and it's good for you.
Mm. And by the way, it tastes good and it's really filling. And when I used to drink soda, I'd want more and more and more because
Me
it's
too. Let me tell you
the
something. I
sugar.
mean, as a kid and even as an adult, young adult, I used to kill that soda, man, and
Yeah,
it still can be addicting. The sugar, it's the sugar. We
absolutely.
all we all Americans, we have a sugar addiction. I have a sugar fix. My fix, I'll keep it real, is red vines. that thing be
Ah.
calling my name. You know what I mean? Especially late in the evening at night, I'd be killing those bad boys. So, so yeah.
You work with a lot of clients to help them, to get better fit. You have some celebrities, you have some non. Is there a difference when working with celebrities and non-celebrities?
Yeah, I would say that with the celebrities, a little bit more demanding, in terms of what they want. There's a certain look that they want. But what I would say is that I think there's this people think that celebrities, maybe they don't work hard. They actually, the people that actually worked the hardest were the ones that were the biggest names and celebrities. You could now you
Wow.
like when I've worked with like Steve Harvey, I'm like, okay, now I realize why he's where he's at. This guy's work ethic is no joke. So when he's working out, he's working his butt off. You know what I mean? So so that's why you can see the difference, why they're in that one percentile of the
Mm.
population as far as the success they've attained. It's because of the work ethic. And that's where I see it when they're working out. They're not wasting any time. They don't have much time, so they're making the most of the
Mm.
hour session they have with you. And I'm not saying that people that are not celebrities don't work hard, but I can see the difference. I can see the difference. And to get to that level of success, the work ethic has to be somewhat of an outlier. You have to really be someone who will go above and beyond in terms of how in terms of your work ethic.
Now, when somebody comes to you, I'm going to assume most of them say, I want to lose weight. I want to be more fit. I want to be healthier. I heard you say you have them kind of take a survey. And then how do you work with them?
So when I work with any person, I will email them some questions: their height, their weight, their age, their fitness goals, any medical or health concerns I need to be aware of, any dietary preferences that they have, any things that they're allergic to. So all this information, this health screening information, it allows me to understand the type of program I need to create and customize for them. Because if someone comes to you to want to work with you, and you just create a random program, you don't even know where they are health wise. You have no idea
Mm.
what they can and cannot do. So now you're creating a program based off of no health intel whatsoever. And that's dangerous. Someone can get
Mm.
hurt, someone can get injured. You don't even know if they've got a back issue, a knee issue, or whatever. And so the liability would be pretty high, if you don't get that information. There is a liability that you have as a health and wellness professional when you work with someone. So it behooves you to make sure you get all of that information before you create a program for them. So it's going to be advantageous for them. They're going to be able to have success, and they're not going to be able to hurt themselves either.
Mm. So they come to you, they complete the survey, they say, look, I want to lose 25 pounds. I need to lose 25 pounds. What can I do? And then you start going over nutrition, exercise, sleep.
Correct. Right. I'll send those questions. They answer. They give it back to me, and then I would create a program that I believe that would allow them to lose 25 pounds on under a certain time frame. If someone would want to lose 25 pounds, I would tell them, well, on an average, it would probably take you about 12 to 14 weeks. On an average, right? And then we just put together a game plan. And if I work with them online, I'll give them the program, and we communicate every week. I call it an accountability call. They'll do the program
Mm.
themselves, and then I check in with them. They'll weigh themselves every Monday morning, and then they'll either email me or text me their weekly weight, which allows me to track their progress week to week and make sure that
Mm.
we're hitting that 1 to 2 pound per week goal every week. And
Mm.
if we're not, if you're staying at the same number 2 to 3 weeks in a row, then that means I got to make an adjustment in the program. We've either plateaued, or what I've created for you is not working for you.
But you mentioned it before, Obi, and we see it time and time again. People lose weight and then they just gain it back. These kind of yo-yo. I mean, hopefully with 12, 14 weeks, you're instilling some processes, some routines that they'll keep forever.
Right. I think the most important thing that I when I'm working with someone is that they can learn from me, and that when they working with me, they understand how to exercise, they understand how to eat, they understand,
Mm.
okay, I have my fruits and my vegetables with each meal, I have my protein source with each. They understand how the process works, and so once they're done working with me, then they can apply these lifestyle habits in the future when they're done working with you, and they can apply it to be able to maintain their weight. That's the most important thing. I mean, the worst thing in the world is when someone um, gets to their goal and then they just let it go. I don't understand that. You work so hard to get there, and then all of a sudden, you can't maintain it. You know, and that's why it's so important to be able to have, when you're working with someone, to make sure that it's not extreme and it's something that is sustainable after they work with you, that time frame, and they can still apply it, and it's not going to be extreme. It's not going to take them away from their work or their kids, where it's just like, so you don't want to have create a program where they're working out half of the day. That's insane. you know
Absolutely, because and it's like you say, it's just not sustainable.
it's not sustainable. It's
It's
not.
not sustainable. You just can't keep that up, and
No.
because I mean, obesity, it's, I don't know, 60% in this country
Yeah, I think
overweight.
I believe over 50, yeah, over 50% of the population is either overweight or obese. So it's a huge epidemic in this country. And that's why the weight loss industry is $1 billion industry, because there's so many people that are struggling with their weight. And so when it's sad because there's so much education now in our fingertips, I can still remember when there wasn't an internet, or
Mm.
you didn't have these smartphones, so everything's really within your fingertips. So it's the amount of information that's out there is tremendous, but also, unfortunately, there's also too much information out there, and
Yeah.
it's really hard for the everyday average person to differentiate between what's good and what's not, what's correct and what's not, because everyone's an expert these days.
Mm.
You got a social media account, you're all of a sudden giving tips, and you don't even have the certification or the education to even give tips. And if you look good, on the outside, and you've got a decent amount of followers, all of a sudden people are following your advice, even though your advice is, incredibly questionable at best, minimally. So
Yeah. So how do you do that? I mean, because you start following somebody on one of the platforms, right? And then the algorithm will feed more to you, and it's hard to tell. There'll be contradicting advice sometimes. Obi, right? Eat
I
this and
just
not eat
I
that.
always say that you question everything. I think it's so
Mm.
important to always do your own independent research anytime you get information from anyone
Mm.
to help to validate that. I think it's important, because people make mistakes, or people just don't know what the hell they're doing, or no, they don't know what the hell they're saying. It's because someone looks from the eye test, doesn't mean they
Mm.
are credible. Doesn't mean they're even an expert in nutrition or even fitness.
Mm.
So it's like the person that's in great shape, and they're doing these crazy workouts that really don't make any sense, that is really dangerous, and they're encouraging people to do these workouts, that really could hurt you. And then it takes that one person that tries it out, and now all of a sudden they're paralyzed, or now all of a sudden,
Mm.
they're dead. I've seen it on YouTube. People that just try to, what works, what gets the most clicks is to what gets the most clicks and views is pushing the envelope, doing things that people typically would never do, or dangerous stuff. Okay. And, if you get a lot of views, it's people, there's going to be someone young and someone naive that's going to try something like that. So it's a scary world that we're living in right now, to be honest with you.
Has technology hurt or help personal training?
I actually think it helps personal training because now the ability to it's just the accessibility now. Anyone can really get
Mm.
access to you, and anyone can get access to information. So information is really so accessible. So I actually think it's actually a lot easier. And then also with technology now, like I have a high profile client that was most of the time in New Jersey, New York, and before technology, I wouldn't be able to do it. But now,
Mm.
when he's in New York, I'll train him via Zoom. I'll tell him, hey,
Wow.
let's do shoulder press. Okay. Let's do, bicep curls. Okay. And I'm showing him the exercise just like this. So it's literally like I'm there, it's so cool from a business perspective. Someone is motivated and they really want to work with you, you could train them anywhere, you don't have to physically be there. So, so I think it's very helpful from a business perspective for sure in any industry, but definitely in the training for sure.
Has AI played a role in anything that you do, personal training wise?
For me, no, not really. I'm kind of old school. I'm a writer. I write articles for my company. So I have a web developer that wants me to have AI to help me, but I'm old school. I'm gonna rewrite all my stuff. I don't need no help. So yeah,
Just pen to paper.
pen to paper, man. Well, I could type really fast. The class that I always say that was the best class that taught me a skill that I use was my freshman in high school was a typing class, and I
Ah,
remember home row keys, and I never forgot it. I continued to use it even in college and after college. So anytime like anyone's around me, like, man, you type fast, I'm like, yo, man, this is freshman year in high school typing class. I never forgot it. Home row. I don't even have to look at my keys. So it's such an important skill. You know what I mean?
really is. It really is. So I started my business in the 90s, and Obi, I was working way too hard and 14-hour days, and I wasn't paying attention to, I am an athlete. I played all my life, but I was playing less and drinking the soda and eating pizza late at night, and before you know it, I got up to 340 pounds.
Oh
And
my God! Wow.
yeah, the doctor said to me, if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. She had just been born.
Oh
So
wow.
so it just, it's kind of a come to Jesus moment. And I remember like driving home and, pounding my hand on the steering wheel. It's like, I put myself here, right? There's nobody to blame here. I put myself here. So I spent the next 6 or 7 months and I lost about 130 pounds. And I kept it off. I didn't look at it as a finishing line. Too many times, like, I want to lose 25 pounds. They lose it. And then, that's not it. You have to keep going. And people always ask me how I did it. Like they want some quick remedy, some quick fix. And I just say discipline. That's how I
Yeah.
took it off. That's how I took it off. I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life.
Discipline is huge, man. It's and that really came from being an athlete. Okay, it came from sports. So discipline is very important for me, and that's the only way that I've able to have any type of success in my life is just being able to do things that most people aren't willing to do, but it's going
Mm.
to help you. It's like doing something that you maybe it's not something you want to do, but in the long run it's going to help you. And not everybody has it. Not everybody has that discipline to really just focus and be consistent with something that maybe consciously is difficult to do, but that long run it's going to help you. So I think discipline is something that if most people can incorporate in their life and develop that, my God, it'd be so much more successful.
Yeah, it's interesting how I think I developed a lot from being an athlete as well. You have a team and you don't want to let them down, and they keep you accountable. I think that's the reason why a lot of people have personal trainers as well. They want somebody to keep them accountable, and discipline just feeds into that.
It does. Accountability is very important, as you know, and so yes, for sure. And when you have someone that holds you accountable, it definitely makes it easier for you to stay on track. And so a lot of people need that. And then some people just need to have that throughout their life. It's like this permanent, angel over their shoulder. You got to do it. You got to do it, get that devil out of there.
And to those people that may be listening to saying, "Look, I'm very overweight, but I don't have discipline. I don't have that drive, and I don't know what it's going to take for me." I had to come to Jesus moment, right? I was like, okay, now I have a daughter, right, and it's much more than me. Look, I've got to be healthy because I want to be around for this person that I have, that I brought to this world,
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
some people, that was the moment that I said, okay, I'm not going to let this happen again. I'm going to try to lead a great, healthy lifestyle. Certainly room for improvement everywhere. But I wonder, anybody listening, you don't maybe not you don't have to have that rock bottom moment. What's it going to take for them to make a change?
Sure. Well, I personally think it's what you did was great. You used it. You used certain important things, certain important people in your life as a motivator, and I do think that looking at it from that perspective, even beyond the vanity aspect, I think is so important. Is to look at it. I always just say exactly what you said. Is like, how long do you want to live here? Do you want to optimize your life? Do you want to be here? Do you enjoy being alive? Do you enjoy your life? Do you enjoy being around your friends and your family, your loved ones? Then this is necessary. When you're not exercising, when you're not eating somewhat healthy, you're really shortening your lifespan. You really are. And some people can get away with it, but over time, it will definitely catch you. And so I always tell people, hey, this is what you're doing is just you're putting in this investment in to be able to live a long life. But when you don't invest in this thing consistently, then you are shortening your lifespan every single year. And that's really how you have to break it down. Sometimes the vanity aspect of working out is not enough anymore for certain people, especially once they get to a certain age. So I do think that I think that doctors, to be honest with you, when they're in medical school, I think they should add an exercise science class or two and more nutrition in their medical school curriculum. Because by when you add that in there, that when someone is coming to you in a doctor visit, you have the knowledge and the education to prescribe exercise, to prescribe a simple nutritional plan. That would be so helpful for a lot of doctors. I think they should add that in there because exercise and diet is preventive healthcare. It's what it is. We're preventive healthcare specialists. That's what I am. I'm not a doctor, but I'm preventive healthcare. My job is to make sure that I give you all of the tools and the information that when you do go to the doctor, it's just a simple visit. And you look at your blood, like, oh my God, wow, this blood works amazing. Not the opposite.
Yeah, I'm certainly not a doctor, but shouldn't the first question from a doctor be to the patient, "What do you eat?" Right?
You definitely should. Let me tell you something. I've been to the doctor for my physical, and some of the things that I've heard that came out of their mouth, I'm just like, thank God I know more than you in what you just said. Oh, don't take too much protein. This is going to do this, or watch out for the creatine. And I'm like, okay, there's studies that show that even if you take up to 2 grams of protein per pound, it doesn't affect your kidney. It doesn't hurt your kidneys at all. I'm a PubMed guy. I look at research studies. So, don't do too much walking. Don't do too much running. And I'm just like, where did you get this information from? And this is scary. And I'm not going to. I don't want to make this whole huge blanket over all doctors.
Of
That's
course.
unfair. But there are some doctors that will give information to patients. They've given it to me, not even knowing I've never shared what I know or who I am, but I'm hearing it. I'm just like, I know that's not true, right? Because when you do enough continuing education like me, who's a voracious reader and I love to understand the body, if you don't do any continuing education after you get out of medical school, then you get stagnant,
Mm,
and so all is based off of, your patient experience and stuff like that, and what you've gained with all the patients that you've worked with. So continuing education is so important. And I think, like I said, I think doctors should have more. I actually think nutrition should be a minor in medical school curriculum, and
mm,
exercise science as well. If they add that in there, oh my God, it would make that doctor so much more knowledgeable and more effective for the patient. They can literally just give an exercise and diet prescription. They can legitimately give one, but they really can't. They just say go exercise, go eat right, but
prescribe.
they can't give one because they haven't studied enough. That's not in the curriculum. I know it's not. I've seen it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's very true. I think there's got to be a balance. You mentioned balance before, right? Go to the
Mhm.
doctor, check your blood work, get general advice if you're ill, but then go to a nutritionist, go to a trainer for these areas. I think that
Yeah,
you
that
just,
blood work thing is so important. Yeah,
it
it's
is.
just peace of mind, And I know people don't like to go to the doctors, and I used to be like that for years, but as I've gotten older, that's just part of the protocol. You just
Mm.
gotta get it done. Just want to give you peace of mind, that you're everything looks good.
Obi Abadike, what motivates you?
What motivates me is just to be the best person that I can be for myself, for my family, to be a pillar of positivity for the community, to help humanity as best as possible, to educate as many people as possible, to be healthy and well. I feel like I've got all this wealth of knowledge,
Mm.
and I want to be able to share it with people that can improve their lives. I really feel like that's my purpose, is to educate as many people as possible and help to be healthier. And with that, that's going to help to extend their life. And I take that so seriously. It's such a privilege, and I really enjoy what I do.
So given that, how do you measure success?
I used to measure success off of money and maybe how much fame back in the day, but I really measure success off of time, how much time you have, and how happy you are. Okay, because I think there's a lot of people that work so hard, work a lot of hours, and they do very, very well financially, make a lot of money, but they don't have time to enjoy it, you
Mm.
know? So I think success is really based off of how much time you have to share with the people you care about and how happy you are. If you're not happy, how are you successful? You don't enjoy your life. You're miserable because you got all these stresses and stuff like that, because you're managing so many different people. So I think success um, is really happiness and having the time to enjoy your life. Because you can make as much money as possible, but you can't take it with you to the grave. You know what I mean? And people, they seem to forget that one. Can't take it with you. So you got to enjoy your life, and you want to also have the time to be able to enjoy it as well too. Some people, they work so hard, they work themselves to death, literally.
Yeah.
So it's nothing wrong with working hard. I love working hard too, but it's also understanding to give yourself a break and time to spend it with the loved ones.
And that balance, as you mentioned before, I know a lot of really wealthy people who are just miserable. And yeah, to have impact, positive impact makes,
Positive impact, man. There's nothing
yeah,
like that, man. When you can know that, like, when I saw this quote that says that, people will never remember. Man, maybe I've created it, but people, when you leave this earth, they won't remember how much money you made and how famous you are. All they're going to remember is how you treated them. That's it.
right.
How you
I made
treated
them
them,
feel,
how you treated them, how you made them feel. That's what they're going to remember. So that's how I look at my life now. It's just to try to treat people with kindness, help them out, help people that are less fortunate than me when I can, and just try to make the world a better place. And that's what I'm trying to do as a health and wellness professional. I think what I love to do is I love to write. That's what because I can't train everyone. I don't really train that many people anymore. I just got a couple of key clients, and then my time is involved in my businesses. But I love to write because I think that like when you write something, you can really reach a lot of people. And so because I can't work with everyone, I can write an article that someone can apply that to their life, a health and wellness article. So that's what my passion is writing.
I mean, I think health and wellness is the largest, or close to the largest issue we have here in the United States. I mean, there's just so many unhealthy people, and just nutrition, exercise, sleep.
Yeah.
Just try to get some balance there.
You nailed it. Yeah, you nailed it. It's all about balance, man. Just find that good balance.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I was so excited when we set this up. I love what you're doing. I love your work. Anybody listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, they could go to obiobadike.com or go to my Instagram or Facebook at Obi Obadike. I also have a supplement company called Ethical Inc. We got great products, ethicalinc.com, appetite suppressant, post-workout, probiotic, multivitamin. And if you have a question about health and wellness, getting in shape, losing weight, you can always message me on my website, obiobadike.com. And that's it, and Joey, I appreciate the opportunity and being on your podcast, Discipline Conversations. I love it.
Very cool. And your name is spelled exactly the way it's pronounced. There's no silent
Well, let
letters.
me tell you something. As a kid, I used to get butchered, man. I hated that name as a kid. As I've gotten older, I've learned to love it. But as a kid, I used to get killed. They would, I always hated the first day of school because they would, they go alphabetical and call your name, and the teacher would always butcher it. And you're like, oh God, right before they got to your name, you say the name before they said it, before they butchered it. Then you say the name, and then they would say the name and butcher it. So it didn't matter. So the first day of school, I used to hate first days of school. Roll call as a kid. So it was brutal, man. Even up to college, too. I'm like, man, this shit's never going to stop. I gotta graduate from school, man. Get out of this first day of school stuff. You know what I
mean? What are the origins of your last name?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
That's where my family's from. I was born here, but that's where all my heritage is from. Yeah. Yep.
Obadike.
Correct. Obadike. Yes.
Is it last name and Obi is your first name? Obi, thank you so much. I hope when I'm in the Southern California area, perhaps we can
hit me up. Hit me up, Joey. And after this, I wanted to talk to you about something real quick. But yeah,
sounds good. You be well. Thank you so much for your time.
You take care, man. All right, later.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Disciple Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Disciple Conversations.